So Koen, this afternoon you gave a brilliant presentation on all kind of new technologies. It was like taking a zip from a fire hose, I would say.
Yeah.
So, but you know what I'm struggling with is well, how real is this?
Yeah. Well, to give you an idea, people always argue there's a large number of fitness and healthcare apps in the app stores or the Google stores. There's more than 70,000. Just to give you an idea, there's 23 regulated apps which appeared in 2014. And just to give you a few examples of what they do, it's two things. It's first of all, it helps me as a doctor, instead of sending the patient home and leaving him by himself, to send him home with something on top that he can start to manage part of his health. And I'll give you an example. If I'm an acute heart failure patient, this event will occur again, but I don't know when. So normally I get out with my cardiologist with an appointment the 13th of November. Mm-hmm. That's old-fashioned. I want to get out of my cardiologist with an app which is linked to my smartphone, on which I put my fingers 2 seconds a day. And basically what it does, it measures my heart function. It's an ECG. And only when this ECG is off target, my cardiologist gets a message and says, well, Koen, we're not going to wait till the 13th of November. You're going to come back tomorrow. I'm in time. And basically that's the idea of having a smoke detector at home. I don't want to wait till my house is in fire. I don't want to wait till I'm, as a patient, getting fire. I have something which is in time to predict that something is going to happen again. So in cardiovascular disease, in diabetic care, we have a number of really concrete examples backed by clinical trials which helped regulatory authorities to regulate and bring these apps to the market. One. That is the reverse. Very often a patient has not a single tool to communicate with his doctor. Just to give you an idea, and I think I mentioned that, as a chronic patient, I'm on average 8,500 hours by myself. Yeah. So what if there is something which would monitor me in the background, and only when something occurs informs my doctor that something is happening. So it works in that way, but it also works in the way that a doctor can tell me, well, it's better that you move a little bit more. That's so hard to do. So if I have my doctor, which becomes a coach, and which says, well, Koen, I can monitor in the back whether you do walk properly, and I can help you to make sure that moving a little bit more gets you to a level that you don't only have to take drugs, but that you can basically take control of yourself by a simple lifestyle measurement, then it starts to come in two ways. And then I would love to have my doctor prescribing me an app on top of a drug. So yes, it's a solution. And for that reason, what you really hope at some point in time, that doctors shouldn't fear that digital health replaces their jobs. What I would like to see is that doctors start to realize that what they learn at school is by definition outdated after 50 minutes, but that they start to get experienced in grasping novel technology, and that they think beyond the diagnosis, beyond the treatment, in how can I make sure that the experience of my patient is helped and fluent, and that even if my patient is sick, that in a two-way direction, I'm there as a doctor to coach him and to make sure that using tools he strives and gets better.
So Koen, you know, nice story about all these technologies, but I'm just, you know, I'm an economist, so thinking in terms of, well, what's the return on investment of these things?
Yeah. Yeah.
High uncertainty, you know, it's...
Yeah, I think that sometimes you have to aim big, and sometimes you have to define why do you do something and what is the end goal. The end goal here is to ensure that people no longer get sick. And return on investment, in my opinion, is something from the Middle Ages in healthcare. And I'm going to try to explain it. At some point in time, I think it was already 14 years ago, Google was in existence for 9 months. And they went out to Yahoo. And they basically tried to find out whether Yahoo was willing to acquire them. The guys at Yahoo said, well, it's not worth it. The bidding price was 1 million. So there you might argue, the guys from Yahoo were kind of nuts. But I would argue the guys from Google were even more nuts, because they even didn't realize that a value of 1 million, that was crazy to even consider selling. Yeah. The point I want to make is that Google was already in existence at that point in time for 9 months, which is quite a while if you have a way to communicate with your end user. The point I want to make is that with new technologies, it doesn't matter so much which one will strive and basically make it to the market. The idea of getting the patient empowered, that is key. And we have to shoot with 10 shots on that kind of target, and 9 might fail, but the 10th one, it's the right one, gets us to the empowered patient, which is longer in a healthy situation. So the return on investment is something you cannot calculate if a company like Google was not even able to calculate what it was after X months, what it will take in 10 years. But I think you have to aim for a big goal and make sometimes incremental steps. Evolution is always something very hard work. Innovation is hard work. It's very small steps, but it's building on the shoulder of giants to make something bigger and to see the links. And that should be a bigger question than the return on investment. And the second as well is defining technology or looking for technology. That's also not so important. But the business model, that needs to be right. Who at the end will pay and how the link between the interactors will look like. I think that's way more important than which app will make me how much money at which point in time.